Hey, what it do, sports world? It's me again. The Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs, is here, y'all. Where passion meets performance and champions are made. I'm your host, Ray Diggs, bringing you the energy, the insight, and the mindset from across the world of sports. From the locker rooms to the big stage, this is where the real ones talk and legends rise, and the motto stays the same. Winners will always win. The Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. We are here and we ain't going nowhere. Make sure y'all tune in because we're about to go live now. Peace. Hey, what it do, sports world, and welcome to the Winner Circle podcast, man, with me, Ray Diggs, man. Hey, we got a jam-packed show tonight. I got three things that I want to talk about tonight. The first thing being, should high school football players be able to reclassify? I want to give you all the risk reward to that answer, okay, to that question, okay? Because it's a lot of things that I think that players should be able to do it, but I also think it's a bad thing, especially depending on the position. Before I get started, man, make sure y'all go hit the like button, the subscribe button, and also the share button. And make sure y'all give me your feedback on what you all think about this segment. But yeah, make sure y'all go and hit the like button. I appreciate that. But let's talk about it. Should high school football players, and I basically put it with football players because I've seen more basketball players be able to reclassify and they actually be successful, like Cooper Flagg. If you don't know, the Dallas Mavericks rookie Cooper Flagg he actually reclassified, went to Duke early, and now he's a prime candidate for Rookie of the Year at only 19 years old. So I've seen it more in basketball than I have in football, because a lot of basketball players reclassify and they get to the NBA and they actually be pretty good. Now, football players, I really don't know, depending on the position. Ryan Williams reclassified and he got to Alabama and he had a big season, but his sophomore season, he kind of hit the sophomore wall. We hadn't seen his junior year, so we got to wait to see how his junior year turns out. But he had a bad sophomore year after having a stellar freshman year. So the reason I wanted to do it right here is because a lot of people have been asking me this question, and I was like, you know what, I'll just do a podcast on it. So I'm going to go all the way back to 2021 when the number one prospect in the nation in Texas, Quinn Ewers. If y'all don't remember him, he was at South Lake Carroll. This kid right here was a baller. He was leading one of the most prolific offenses in the state of Texas. They ended up losing in the semifinals, but it's only his junior year. And guess what? His senior year, all of his receivers was getting ready to return for their senior year. And this right here was the year that I feel like South Lake Carroll had the best chance to win a state championship in one of the biggest and hardest classifications in Texas. But what did Quinn Ewers do? In the spring, Quinn Ewers' parents felt like Quinn Ewers should be receiving NIL. So a couple of Texas donors wanted to give him an NIL, but Texas have this NIL. They cannot receive NIL for high school students. So what his parents did was they was like, you know what, since we cannot get it in high school, he's going to skip his senior year and he's going to go ahead on and reclassify and go to Ohio State. Why do I bring up that situation? Because when Quinn Ewers went to Ohio State, so basically he said, you know what, I'm going to skip my senior year. A team that can win a state championship, like this team right here was loaded. A team that can win a state championship, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Ohio State, receive my 1.4, because he ended up receiving an NIL deal at Ohio State worth 1.4 million, only to sit on the bench. I don't even think Quinn Ewers even was the second screen or even third screen. I think Quinn Ewers was like the fourth screen quarterback when he got to Ohio State. And it was a terrible situation. So then after 1 year, he ended up transferring to Texas. Okay, so my mindset was this: why transfer? Yes, you got the money. Yes, and maybe that's right there what it was about. You was going to get the money regardless at Texas. Why not just wait your senior year, play your senior year, then go to Texas, which you was probably going to go anyway, and then you play about 3 years at Texas. You probably would have redshirt your first year, and then you probably would have played your second year, or maybe redshirt. Back your second year, and then your third year you a starter. It kind of played out how it really would have played out anyway for Quinn Ewers. Arkansas right now, Fayetteville's quarterback. As y'all know, Casey Dick was mad because Fayetteville's last year's starting quarterback, he pretty much said that I'm going to leave Fayetteville High School early, and I'm going to go and play at Fayetteville, the University of Arkansas, which is in Fayetteville. So Casey Dick pretty much crashed out and called out the University of Arkansas's new head coach and said that you are not welcome here anymore. So in the end, Casey Dick ended up have to, step down as head coach, and he ended up taking another job that was probably better than the Fayetteville job anyway. But why do I bring up that situation? Why is he going to Fayetteville early? Okay, first of all, you're not going to start this year. You might not even start next year or even the next year, to be honest with you. So I think Fayetteville High School this season had a really good chance to possibly contend for a state championship. With the Bryans, with the Conways, Fayetteville was right there with them. I think that they had a really good chance to win a state championship. But when you lose your starting quarterback, I don't think people really know how important this is. And if I was a head coach, this is what I would have told the Fayetteville quarterback. You know what? You already have open access to come and work out here. You already can come here and watch us play. Hell, you might be about 10 minutes down the road. Why not just go ahead and play your senior year, possibly try to win yourself a state championship, and then you come here and maybe even as a freshman, you possibly can fight for a starting job. If not fight for a starting job, fight for a backup job. Instead of coming to Arkansas early, when you're probably not going to play next year, like you're probably not going to even be the backup. It's a highly chance that he won't even back up next year. So my thing is this. It's a good and a bad to it. Like I said, I gave you the Ryan Williams situation where he went early and he was successful. I gave you the bad when Quentin Ewers, he went early and it just did not work out. I think when it comes to quarterbacks, I don't think quarterbacks should do it. I don't think quarterbacks should reclassify because we've seen more quarterbacks reclassified that wasn't good than we have seen reclassify and they played good in college. Ryan Williams is that rare case of leaving high school early, going on to college, and actually being successful your first year. Even though he had a second year, which would have been his freshman year. His senior year, his freshman year was actually supposed to be his senior year in high school, which he played really good. But then his next year, which is sophomore year, he would have been a freshman. He had a down year. So this season here would have been his sophomore year instead of his junior year. So overall, I think the high school football player should be able to reclassify, but only if it makes sense for the player. If it's a development, academic, injury recovery, or a long-term plan, I understand it. But if it's just to chase hype, money, and try to game the system, that's something that can be left. That's something right there that I don't really agree with. Every kid is different. Every family is different. Quinn Ewers' situation is maybe his parents needed the money. They might needed that 1.4 million. But I honestly feel like if Quinn Ewers would have went to his senior year at South Lake Carroll, that team would have been so dynamic that next season that he would have been able to do whatever it is that he wanted to do, honestly. But by him going on to college, and like I said, you still had to wait 3-4 years before you played. I mean, what did he gain besides the 1.4 million? And he probably gained way more money than that at Texas. I don't think he gained no experience at Ohio State. I don't think he gained nothing else besides money by going to Ohio State early. So that's right there why I think that reclassifying, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing depending on the situation and also the position. I think a quarterback, I don't think quarterbacks work out by reclassifying. Running backs, they can possibly do it. I'm gonna bring up Adrian Peterson. I think Adrian Peterson could have possibly played in the NFL as a true freshman. But then as I continue to think, he did not have that muscle. He was already muscular, but I don't think the NFL game, I think the NFL game is so fast and so physical. I don't know was his body ready. His 18-year-old body was ready to go to college that early, or go to the NFL that early and possibly be really, really good in the NFL like he was when he finally got there after 3 years, and then he was already Adrian Peterson. So reclassifying, I think it's dependent on the situation. Like Quinn Ewers' situation, I was totally against that. The Fayetteville's quarterback, I'm totally against that one. And that's only because I think they can get better where they are right now than possibly going on to Fayetteville, to the University of Arkansas, or Quinn Ewers going to the University of Ohio State. I think that they will get better. I think that they can get better by those extra reps of being in high school over going to college and just basically sitting on the bench, because they probably not going to even be the scout team. Let's be real. These dudes probably not going to even be scout team, because that's basically what it was with Quinn Ewers. Ohio was loaded at the quarterback position. And like I said, because let's see, I think that he could. I honestly think he could have waited. I think he would have been good with just waiting maybe 1 year, maybe, waiting his senior year and going to Ohio State or going to Texas. Same thing I say with the Fayetteville quarterback. Ryan Williams' situation was a little different. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real with you. I feel like Ryan Williams, man, get your stupid ass off here, dude. Like, bro. So I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like Ryan Williams would have been even better if he went his senior year at in high school. So I think that because Ryan Williams was the most unstoppable player that I have ever seen in high school. Let's be real. He was the most unstoppable player. So when I see him in high school, I'm like, bro, this dude right here is special. He is special. And then next thing you know, it's just like when he got there, he dominated his freshman year, and then his sophomore year, he wasn't that good. But I think that if Ryan Williams goes back to school, get a little bigger, maybe he was wasting his time going back to Ohio, going back to high school. Ryan Williams was, but I still say that I feel like if he would have stayed, man, they would have probably. I think that the next season, if y'all don't know, that Ryan Williams ended up losing in the state championship game his junior year. If he comes back, they brought back two other receivers. Their star quarterback, one of their quarterback actually was the one who signed with Texas. If they bring back all of their weapons, which they did, I think they would have easily won the state championship that next year. So it depends on if you care about winning a state championship. Because like I said, Fayetteville got a good chance of winning the state championship. Quinn Ewers had a good chance at winning the state championship. Ryan Williams had a good chance at winning the state championship. So I just feel like, man, if you had a dream that you want to win a state championship, I honestly feel like that is like, that's something right there that can basically, this right here, the reason I did it is because my decision was based on winning a state championship. And I think that when you talk about should players be able to reclassify, I think that it depends on the situation. Do they really want to win a state championship? A lot of them do. And that's right there what I think a lot of this comes down to. Yes, I think you should be able to reclassify, but only for the right situation. I don't know if you a quarterback, you should do it, because honestly, most of these college teams are bringing in much older quarterbacks. So the chance of you starting your freshman year is highly unlikely. The Mason, hell, even your sophomore year, honestly, most of them red shirt. The next year they come back and they're still, sitting on the bench. So when I look at this right here, I'm just thinking to myself, like, it depends on the situation. Why would I want to go here, sit on the bench? Really, I'm not learning nothing. And why not just go and I can play high school football? And then a lot of y'all are going to say, what about injuries? Yes, injuries are going to happen regardless. Like it is no way around it, because this is a very physical sport. It's a contact sport. So I can't say that I'm not going to get hurt, because I might get hurt on the first play when I step out there on the University of Arkansas. So I think that depending on the situation, as a quarterback, you should always, like, I'm always going to be against you reclassifying. Maybe a wide receiver, running back. I'm also against it when it comes to linemen. I think that a lineman need that development. They need those reps. Linemen. I think that maybe a linebacker can reclassify. Cornerbacks. Maybe a cornerback can reclassify. But those are the positions. I think quarterback and lineman is those are the two positions that I think must guaranteed needs to pretty much those reps of high school football. I'm gonna be 100% against those two pretty much going and reclassifying. So that's right there my take on it. I think that reclassifying should be allowed, but in my days, I never had that issue. We never had that issue because players was going through high school regardless. Nowadays, kids, they got enough credits to go ahead and move on to college. So they take that. So that is the difference from back then to now. So, but I'm not against it, but depending on the position and the situation, I would say I think some of these players should stay and fight for a state championship, get those reps in high school, especially as a quarterback. But hey, man, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. And hey, man, thank y'all again for listening to another great segment of the Winner Circle Podcast. Me, Ray Diggs. Until next time, peace.
Mr. Diggs, we're on in 5. Vegas can't be choosers, but grandma chose grace. She raised me on scraps.